Hi, my name is Michael Persad with Church Brand Guide. And about 16 years ago, I started my career. I remember getting out of college, fresh out of college, and I had a choice. Would I work at an agency or would I go work at my church? Both had offers out there on the table. And I thought the greatest thing I could do was to actually go work for my church and help build something from the ground up. They wanted a communications department, which they've never had before, but they knew they needed to step into it, and I accepted the challenge. So over the years, I created designs, I shot videos, I took photography, I built a website, and all of it was great. And looking back now, I think I did a decent job, but what I didn't understand was this idea of branding. Everything that I did was about building a brand. And that brand would either help to attract people by cutting through the noise and helping them to understand that this church was for them, or the brand would just be scattered and all over the place. And to be truthful and honest, I think I was a little bit scattered because I didn't really understand what I was doing. Now, fast forward, I was at another church, another mega church. Actually, both churches were very large. The first church I was at was thousands of people. This second church that I was at, they had thousands of people as well. But now I had a better understanding of what I was doing. And I created a brand. I focused more on a brand. And the impact that I had at that church was tremendous. It was lasting. Even to this day, even though I have an agency now, I can look back at the church I was at, and I can see the impact that I had, a lasting impact, and it just makes me thrilled to see that they're still continuing to do some amazing things in that city through some of the things that I set up in a brand. So I want to share with you with three big ideas that I learned, and then I also implemented and saw tremendous results with. And I know it's going to just help you. It'll move the needle for your church so that you're not just creating stuff just to create it, but you're actually moving the needle so that you're seeing more people show up. And as a result of that, they're hearing the message of the gospel and life change is taking place. I've been working as a agency for quite some time, and what I do is I help to build brands. Another way to say that is I help to create the right perception for churches so that the people in the community perceives your church in the right way. You have a brand. The only question is it the right brand? Are people really saying the right thing about your church? Do they really believe your church can help them? That's the big question. Is that your brand? Do people believe that your church can help them? And how do we create that dynamic so that they do believe that? I'm going to show you how to do that. Again, I'm going to talk about that in this video, and there's a couple other posts that I'm going to be sending out to help unpack this a little bit more. So I really hope this makes a difference for you. So I've been working with different churches all around the country, and I've learned a lot through that. And that's where these three ideas are coming from. They're coming from my background, working with different types of churches that reach different types of people. And there's really three common things that they do really well in order to start to grow and to reach more people. And reaching more people is important because each person, every number that your attendance increases is an opportunity for life change to take place. And that's extremely important. And it's why I love what I do. I get to see some results happen where, man, I just know that life change is taking place because of the gospel presentation that's happening. New Tribe Church is in Nashville. They're an amazing church that's reaching a bunch of creative people in the Nashville area. We'll actually unpack them a little bit more later on. Journey Church is in Minneapolis. They're doing an amazing job just outside of Minneapolis, tapping into a blue-collar community that's up there. They love their lakes and going fishing and doing some things like that. Go Church is in Atlanta. These guys are amazing. They just rebranded, started a second campus. It's been amazing to work with them. Trinity is in Kansas City. They're doing some amazing things, seeing some great growth taking place. Down in the lower left there, there's Crossroads, and they're up in Spokane, Washington. I really enjoyed working with their team, learning a lot about the area that I'm unfamiliar with, but an amazing community up there. Vibrant Church, they're down in South Florida. This is the church that I'm a part of, and we're doing the best job that we can to reach a city that is 93%. Basically, they don't come to church. So it's been an amazing journey. Then there's Pella, Calvary Pella, that's located in Iowa. And they're a farming community. Manufacturing industry is really big there. So we created a brand to help them reach out to that city. And then there's Cornerstone Church up in Michigan, just north of Detroit. And again, a wonderful church that we've had a chance to work with to help them just take that church that's been around there for 20 years, 20 plus years, and help them reach that next generation. So a couple of years ago, I decided that I needed to build a brand for my family. I was doing this for churches and different organizations, and I saw the impact it had. So I decided that the most important organization that I'm a part of is my family. So I need to do this for my family. So my wife and I got together and we created our brand. We defined it. We defined our vision, our mission, our purpose, our values. And then I designed this brand guide, and it's this poster that I stick on the wall. It's 3 foot wide, it's 2 feet tall. And then I stuck it on the wall. We talk about it all the time with our kids. It's just right by our dining room table. And one of the things that we want to do is develop an identity. And that's what branding does. It develops an identity or a culture around your values. And again, I think the family is just a great, just an analogy for what we're trying to do as a church when we focus on building a brand. So for my kids, I want them to be, to have our values and to know, for example, perseverance, like to be people that are able to persevere. But it's hard to teach a 4-year-old what that is. So what I have to do is simplify it so they can understand what I'm trying to communicate. And that's what a brand is. It's serving our audience in how we communicate to them. It's making it really easy for them to understand the values that we are trying to put out there. So in our family, we say grit. Prasads have grit, which basically means that we do hard things and we finish them. So I'm trying to install into them this identity of who they are. So ultimately, I don't have to be in the room. I can just know that they're going to have their identity, or they can have an identity that they just do hard things and they finish it. And that's what we're trying to do with our branding as a church. How do we create a DNA, a culture, so people understand what our church is and how our church can help them? So with all that, here's the big 3 ideas that I wanted to share with you. Number 1, this is what great brands, church brands do, that the growing churches that are really taking ground, taking territory for the kingdom. They present the benefit. So you have to present the benefit that you offer. Again, that's a branding thing. You'll find that in the marketplace. If you've ever watched the infomercial at 2 a.m., they might say, hey, you want to have more friends in your life. If you want more friends, then you have to have a clean house so that they come over. Hey, you want to buy a vacuum? If you buy the vacuum, you get more friends. So that's kind of the idea. They want to they're selling the benefit, not necessarily selling the product. So as a church, I want to show you how can we do that? How can we, instead of focusing on us, we can just focus on the audience, the people, and what they want. And that's what the most effective brands do. Number 2, we need to relate to your city. We have to be relatable so people understand that we are relevant for them. And again, I want to show you that. A lot of it is with our brand visuals, like what we present, how we look is going to help us to be relatable, to where they begin to trust, man, I think these guys can probably help me out in my life. And number 3, we need to show the results that we provide. We need to show it, put it on display. Our website should show this. Having great photography, posting on social media should all reflect the results that we help people to get. It's the thing we've all come to rely on when we go on Amazon. The reviews that are happening, below the product, we all read those before we buy the product. We need to show those results as a church so that people understand the life change that's really happening in our church. So I sent out a survey. And in the survey, I just asked, what is the top 2 things you would like to know about creating a brand for your church? And I got some really great answers. Thank you guys for those of you that submitted. Thanks for answering that question. So Pastor Stan, he put it best. I think out of all the responses that I got, he basically said, "Hey, how can we not be the best kept secret in town?" And I wanted to help you with that. So in this video, this series of posts, I'm going to help you understand how do we become known in our city? How do we help people stop by our church and check us out? How do we get them to show up on Sunday? And we're going to use some branding strategies to help us get there, where people begin to think, hey, I should go check that place out. So we need to shout the benefits. That's one of the big ideas that we wanted to talk about. Let them know what it is that they can expect when they come to our church. What is the benefit they can expect? I want to give you one that is extremely powerful. I know something about your church, and I know something about your city. And this benefit is going to help you connect your city with your church. In your city, there's people that are feeling very isolated, and they need your church to help them know that there's a place that they can belong. And this is maybe what that message looks like. You belong here. This is a very powerful message that your church can start using right now. It's a message that is relatable to people in your city. It meets a need that people have in your city. I guarantee that in one way or another, every single person has this desire within them. And if you can tap into it, then you're going to be able to reach them, the people that are going to relate to you, and help them to show up to your church on a weekend. You may need to change from a more religious message that you have going on right now. I've worked with a lot of churches, and one of the things I've come to understand is that there's too many churches that are perfectly equipped to reach a world that no longer exists. So we have to begin to change up some of our messaging, and that might be the case for you. You might be speaking something that's a little bit too religious. Something like, hey, we want to make the message of Jesus Christ known to our city. Something along those lines. It sounds great and it's really good, but that's kind of an internal message. The message that you put out there to the city needs to reach the pain point of what they're feeling. So it's not your message, your tagline, the thing you put on their website doesn't need to speak to the ministry that you do once you come to the church or you get involved in. It needs to speak to the pain point that people have that are not part of your church. That's how you're going to really engage with people to get them in. And then your brand visuals need to embrace this. Once you have the messaging down, and again, I would encourage you just embrace that message. You belong here. Put it out there for your church. Don't worry if it seems like there's another church in your area that's saying the same thing. It's okay. Your competition is not the other church. Your competition is everything else that can take the attention away from people to do anything other than going to church. So just let them know they belong, and then create the brand visuals. That means the colors, the fonts, your logo, the website, your signage on your property. Create all those things in line with that message, and it's going to be unique to you and your audience, who you relate with really well. And we're going to talk about that. Like, what does the audience look like for your church? How do you relate to them and help them understand that they belong? Because we can do some things to communicate that, not just the words, but we can create an entire visual brand experience that helps us to relate to the audience that we're trying to reach. So we need to relate to them, and you've got about 5 minutes to do it. In fact, it's really less than 5 minutes. They're going to come primarily to your website, so it's going to be a digital experience first, and they're going to make a decision whether or not your church is for them. And your hope is that you can communicate to them within just a couple minutes that your church is for them, that they should come check you out. So it's very quick. It happens very quickly. So you need to make sure that your brand messaging is on point and your brand visuals are on point. And I will help you get that in place. I'll help you understand how to do that as we go along here in this video and in the next video that I'm going to produce for you. This is Vibrant Church. Again, these guys are in South Florida. I'm a part of this church. We're helping to reach this city that's in South Florida. Vibrant it's a church plant, less than a year old. And so we invested into branding. So Pastor Brandon, he as a church planter, it was limited in the very beginning in how much finances, how much cash, how much money does he have to actually spend on Vibrant Church. But he wanted to get it right. So he went all in and was like, hey, let's just get the branding piece right. And through that, he was able to raise $400,000. $400,000 to launch Vibrant Church. He moved all the way from Kansas City to South Florida and was able to have a good budget so that he could reach people in a city where he didn't know anybody except his mom. But he was able to grow the church from just nothing, moving into the city with no one. Initially, and then some other people came from Kansas City, and then eventually we got to about 211 people in less than 7 months. We were able to get to that point. So people were connecting with the brand because we took the time to invest into it. It is worthwhile to get your branding right. It's worth the investment. It's going to return back to you in many times over once you get it right. This is Go Church. They're in Atlanta, just outside of Atlanta. They were a thriving, or still are, a very thriving church. And they were a faith community. I mean, just a vibrant faith community. I enjoyed meeting them. And then they came up in the 90s, the 2000s with just an amazing church with where the presence of God was just able to be experienced on a regular basis, and it was great. But after a while, they began to see a stop in their growth and even a decline, and they decided that it was time for a rebrand. The church name and the experience that they had been doing wasn't working anymore like it was, so they rebranded into Go Church, and I got to work with them through this process to create the new branding. I was really excited to do that, and this new vision is taking them forward. They've launched another campus. They saw over a 30% increase after launching the new branding. They saw about a 30% increase in people coming to the church taking place after that rebrand. So, man, super excited. Again, I love what I get to do. I love to get to see those results taking place because it's life change happening. This is Evangelistic Center, and they were a church and still are a church that's been around for a really long time. Generations of people have been there, and they needed to transition because their church was just getting older. The people that started with them were still there, which is awesome, but at the same time, they were getting older, and they needed to reach out to a younger community. And so we rebranded them. Bishop Vaughn was just talking about how he doesn't want to be a club for the same type of people, but he wanted to be the church that really attracts new people that comes in. And so we recreated this new brand, and used to have a lot of religious symbols in their branding, a cross and a Bible and some other things kind of as a part of their logo. So we went in a direction that's different because their community didn't relate to that any longer. It used to, but it didn't relate to them any longer. So we wanted to make sure that those people felt welcome, and we rebranded it to something that looked a little bit more corporate, a little bit more representational of the industry, the community that's around them. So this is these are some ideas of what it starts to look like to rebrand. As you rebrand your church, or as you look at your church branding, research the brands that your people in the city that you're trying to reach relate with. If you're a church, and then take a look at yourself too. Like, what type of church are you? Are you more of a corporate type of a church where you would relate to more the business people? So that's kind of what's happening with Mount Pleasant Church. They were rebranding, been around in the community for a long time, and we went with a more corporate brand for them. The colors, the fonts, the different ways that we put that branding together will help them connect with the people, the professionals in their community that need the gospel. They need it. They just don't know that it's there. And so Mount Pleasant's going to be able to reach those people in a much more effective way by being able to let them know they belong, and then present the right visual branding to then express that so they feel it. Let's take a look at Christ Walk Church. They're more of a coffee house brand. So they wanted to reach people that are more laid back. And they're actually in a community on an island, Amelia Island in North Florida, just outside of Jacksonville. And they wanted to reach that community that's more laid back. It's kind of this more vacation type community. And so we created more of a coffee house vibe for their branding. And again, it's going to help them relate to that community, let people know that they belong there and feel like it once they show up or once they see them online. Then there's New Tribe. Again, these guys are in Nashville. They're relating to some blue collar people out there, people that are musicians and artists. So we created a brand that's going to help them relate to those people. So when they show up, they decide, man, this place is for me. And even before that, they might see this logo on a bumper sticker or something like that, and they might be like, wow, that's kind of a cool mark. Like, I like that. We just want that. We just want that to take place. I joked with Pastor Jared that this might be a great tattoo that somebody might throw on their arm one day. And that's the idea. I don't know if we really want it to be a tattoo, but the idea is that we want it to be so relatable that people would actually wear it. Harley Davidson's a good example of that. People that love Harley Davidson will actually get like a tattoo of the logo on them. Like, it's got that much of an appeal to the audience. And really, that's what we're going for. We're trying to relate to the audience, let them know that we're here, that you belong here. And we will ultimately want to be very authentic in how we present the brand. So branding is not manipulative. Sometimes in church world, I kind of get that vibe that we are manipulating people, but that's not what it is. It's about being authentic. It's knowing your vision, and it's really presenting that vision in a way that people can relate to it and begin to say, wow, I like it. I like it here. They show up, they might not be able to tell you, like, I like that font or these colors, but they just feel it. Man, this place is just for me. It was designed just for me. Where have you been all my life? Like, we want that type of a feeling to happen. And when we focus on building a brand and these things that we're talking about, then we start to see those types of responses. That's what we're seeing at Vibrant Church down here in South Florida. People are just so excited they found us. They tell us all the time, we've been waiting for a place like this, and such a fulfilling and amazing feeling to hear that. So tell them why you matter. This is a marketing principle. Another way to say it is people are asking the question, what's in it for me? So I want to leave you with this final thought in this post. You need to tell them what's in it for me. You need to tell them why you as a church matter to them. And really, that's what we've been talking about here in this video. You need to tell them that they belong. Like, you matter because this is a place where they can find community. They can find a family. Like, just communicate that over and over again. Use photos. Photos are amazing to let people see the results, to see people in group, in families. Choose photos of happy, smiling people that are interacting in your church lobby, in your kids' areas, in your auditorium. Just show those results. Let them know why you matter. Help them to see the benefits that they can receive by being part of your church. Those things are going to help them to feel like you authentically care about them, to the point where they'll say, hey, I need to go check that place out. Again, we've been hearing those types of messages of, hey, we've been seeing some posts on social media, and man, it just looks so amazing that I have to come check you out. That's what you want. That's what you want to create with your branding, so that it really fuels your marketing, which is the stuff that you put on Facebook. That's your marketing. That's the experience that you provide for people. The website you're building, that it's really fueled by the branding and getting that right. So again, there's another post coming, and in that post, I want to unpack another couple of questions from my survey that you guys were able to answer. You sent me some great questions that you're wondering about a brand, such as, how do I get the right logo? Somebody else asked, how do I help our brand? How does our brand like go to all areas of the church? How do we manage that? So I'm going to show you a couple things. One is the logo. We're going to unpack how do you get a great logo? How do you decide on the right logo for your church? There is a right logo, and I want to show you how to get there. How do you get that right logo? It's important that you do it right because your logo is the thing that's seen the most of all the things in your brand. Like the logo is the thing that gets seen the most. So make sure you get that right, and I'll show you how to do that. And then the other thing is we need to create a brand guide, and I'll walk you through how to create a brand guide. This is what creates consistency, and consistency builds trust. Trust is huge. That's where people say, hey, I want to be a part of that. So we want to make sure we're building trust and consistency across all departments, all areas of the church. So we're going to unpack that in our next video. Well, hey guys, thanks for joining me again. My name is Michael. I'm super excited to share it with you in the next video. If you would leave a comment, let me know how this video may have helped you. Or even if you have a question, let me know what that question might be. I'd love to respond to you, and I'd love to get your feedback. So leave a comment, and the next post is coming. Just be on the lookout for it. I'll make sure I send that to you. So, hey, thanks. I want to help you clarify your message so you can reach more people. Let's do it.